consultation in Asia-Pacific region is critical for the groundwater global project from several reasons. First of all, the overuse of the groundwater in this region, the population growth, the use of the agriculture is a very big challenge globally.
Over the past 3 decades, Chinese economy is experiencing remarkably fast growth, but also China is facing numerous challenges, and the greatest of them may be water. Institutional reforms are needed to straighten out several key relationships, like the relationship between government, central government and local, and also between different ministries related with water management, groundwater management.
The legal and institutional setup in all the discourses that came up in the course of this consultation regarding groundwater management, groundwater governance, a sound, groundwater governance approach. So the law and the regulation of groundwater is one of the pillars of a functioning governance system for groundwater. So the law helps bridging the gap between aspirational goals and policies and action on the ground.
So groundwater governance in large parts of South Asia needs to bring in elements of science, participation, and very robust legislation. The concept of groundwater as a common pool resource must come into practices and must also come into regulation. And I think that's where the crux of improved groundwater governance lies.
I believe that indigenous technology can be a very good source of inspiration for us to learn how to live in harmony with nature, how to live side by side with our environment. But can be a good example, of how our ancestors could live in harmony with nature, could exploit their groundwater without putting any pressure on it. And they could use only the overflow of aquifer, and they didn't pump up the aquifer. And so, using cannot bring about any kind of backlashes. I mean, for example, subsidence, for example, aquifer depletion, or so on. Just free of charge. Only in Iran we have about more than 30,000 canals in active use, and the total discharge of these canals is more than 8 billion cubic meters a year. And so this system nowadays, make a great contribution to agriculture, to supplying water to rural areas, especially agricultural, cultivated lands.
Very useful for our work, because in Ulaanbaatar, in capital city, now recharge of the groundwater is very low. Very low, because consumption is very high, because sometimes level of the groundwater decreases in winter time, and we in the prime of this project established many monitoring points, and we recording all water quality and water quantity, and we want to continue this project in the future.
From the perspective of the International Water Resources Association, which is a membership organisation of researchers, I think there are 3 key platforms that we can provide for improving groundwater governance at the global level, and that's to provide a platform for these themes to be raised onto the international policy scene. It's to provide policy-related publications, and it's to provide an opportunity to link experts and knowledge creators to policy impacting opportunities.
The unsustainability problems on the planet, as far as water is concerned, is to deliver more storage in order to recover from potential extremes of the climate. And towards this, the best means is the use of storage in an aquifer. So what we do over here is apply a combination of managed aquifer recharge coupled with some very good, well-planned conjunctive use and improved institutions.
Small island states, Pacific states, are under critical, let's say, pressure of the climate change drivers. So the groundwater governance improvement is way of the lifeline for them. And in particular, this consultation brought not only the challenges, but also several solutions, particularly in technological area. For example, participants recommended groundwater dams or these managed artificial recharge of groundwaters. These are the things that probably are the solution where the technical solutions could underpin the improve groundwater governance.
22 Pacific Island countries and territories, and they all to some degree rely on groundwater. The two countries that came to this conference rely completely on groundwater, and for many countries like them, their future existence really depends on a few meters of fresh water, fresh groundwater, sitting between basically ocean water and growing populations on top. And if that disappears, then so do the countries. So that's why it's so important to get groundwater right.
The engagement has been a success in Tonga, in a pilot project in one of our regions, and we want to replicate that throughout the kingdom. Leadership at the highest level is required. The commitment is required, and the support into taking the issue of groundwater, managing groundwater is key.
For small island states, the key issues were leadership. The key things that groundwater governance were needing was leadership, investment, a particular focus on capacity building. It's particularly relevant in the Pacific. There's good expertise there, but actually developing it and retaining it was really important. Integration was really vital. It's vital everywhere, but particularly on small islands, because everything is so linked and everyone uses a variety of water sources, and there's different players and stakeholders, and they all need to get together. So the principles of IWRM were really critical in the small island situation. Pollution was really important. All of the small islands represented here, the majority of groundwater use is for drinking water, for domestic use, but that's also hugely vulnerable to the impacts of pollution coming from mostly sanitation practices, inappropriate or badly designed sanitation, and also land use practices. So groundwater governance needs a particular focus on managing those and coming up with alternatives.
We have such kind of privilege to have all of you here in Shijiazhuanhg for this great event, and we look forward to your arrival here next time, very soon.
中国欢迎你，朋友们，再见。
Yeah, so this is the Pacific Blue Ribbon. It's a campaign started in Micronesia to emphasise that water is life, and in this case, and for the countries here, groundwater is life.
Yay!